Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a affordable brush set that checks all the boxes and is the only brush set you need in your collection, and you should be able to do any makeup look. One of my most highly requested videos is my favorite affordable brushes from the drugstore or just from affordable brands. And whenever I'm preparing for a best of video, I like to go through my collection of products I already have, and then I purchase a bunch of other products that I don't have in that same category so that I can really test everything out there and make sure that the recommendations I'm providing are the best of the best. So that's what I've been doing, and why I've been waiting on that video is because I've gone through the brushes in my collection, and then I've ordered several different brushes and brush sets to test them out and figure out which ones are the best of the best. And in preparing for that video and in doing that, I found a brush set that I am completely in love with that I just had to share with you guys. So if you are new to makeup and you don't really have a brush collection, or your brush collection is kind of small and you want to build it up, or if you are just a makeup brush addict like I am, you are going to love these brushes. So I'm going to go through each of the brushes in the collection, and I'm also going to demo the way that I use them and alternative ways you can use each one of these brushes. The brushes I'm going to be going through and the brush collection that I highly recommend is this Marble Luxe brush collection by BH Cosmetics. I've tried a lot of BH Cosmetics brushes, and these are just on a different level. They have this gorgeous marble base to the brush, a rose gold detail, and then the brushes, a lot of these are dirty because I'm using them. Here's a cleaner looking one. You can see that they're two-toned. There's like a gray to white gradient. The look of the brushes is just absolutely beautiful and will look gorgeous on a vanity or in your makeup display if you have one. They're also really heavy. They feel like luxurious brushes. They're not like super light plastic and cheapy. These brushes retail for $42, but you're getting 10 brushes, so that comes out to a little over $4 per brush. And BH Cosmetics has tons of sales. I swear every single day they have a new sale. But I personally have found, and you guys can let me know in the comments below if you found the same thing, I found that the shipping with BH Cosmetics directly is pretty bad. It takes a really long time to get the brushes, but when you order from Ulta, it's super, super fast. So that's where I ordered, and they always have that $3.50 coupon that you can use on your purchases, which would bring this brush set down to below $40, which is incredible. So without further ado, let's go through each one of these brushes. So the first one I want to talk about is the number 3 brush. It's a flat top kabuki brush. This is an amazing brush for blending out your foundation. It doesn't leave streak marks, and because it's so densely packed, you can really build up the coverage of whatever foundation, BB cream, CC cream that you're using and really pack it on. Typically, these flat top kabuki brushes retail for somewhere around $10. The fact that this comes out to about $4 a brush and includes such a high-end feeling brush is incredible. The It Cosmetics brush that I love so much, I believe, is about $42 all on its own, and this is just one of 10. Next brush I want to talk about is brush number 6. This is a really, really small, like mini looking powder brush, and you could use this for a ton of different purposes. You could use it for highlight, for cream highlight, but what I like to use this for is blending out my concealer. If you've seen my last several videos, I'm using the Real Techniques contour brush to blend out my concealer. I just really like the finish of a small powder brush for blending out concealer, and this one does just as good of a job as that one, and that's like one of my holy grail brushes that I've used for years. So great concealer brush, liquid highlight, liquid contour. You could use this for so many different purposes, but concealer is what I use it for. All right, next up is this huge fluffy powder brush. By the way, these brushes are so incredibly soft. If I didn't mention that before, every single one of these is so, so soft. None of them are scratchy or itchy, and there are a ton of bristles. Sometimes more affordable brushes can look really full, but when you actually start using them, you realize there's not actually a whole lot of bristles making up the density. They're just really distributed, but that's not the case with these. These feel really luxurious. This is brush number 1, and this is a perfect all over powder brush. And because it's tapered, I can just use this underneath my eyes, all around my face. You can also use a brush like this for bronzer if you want just that all over sun-kissed look and you're not trying to be super precise with your bronzer. This reminds me a lot of the EcoTools powder brush, which I believe retails for around $8 or $9. And again, this one comes out to about $4 a brush. So really great deal, really great brush for powder and for bronzer. All right, next up is brush number 2. And this is basically a smaller version of brush number 1. Very similar shape, very similar effect, but it's just a smaller version. So this one again would be perfect for a little bit more precision in your bronzer. as well as application of blush. You could also use this as your powder brush if you have a smaller face or if you want to be able to really get underneath your eyes more accurately. This again really reminds me of another brush that's more expensive, and that is the Real Techniques blush brush. That one again alone retails for $9.99. I like a more powdery type of brush for applying blush and bronzer because I want to be able to build it up rather than applying a ton of product with a super tightly packed brush that I have to then blend out. I use this for both bronzer and blush. I typically do that. Whatever brush I'm using for bronzer, I also use for blush because I like the way that blush and bronzer look kind of mixed together, and I even like to place blush on like my forehead and all the places that I bronze, so I don't mind when those two products mix, and this checks both of those boxes for me. All right, next up is brush number 4, and this is another brush that I really love. I used this a couple of times as my foundation brush. Again, reminds me of the Real Techniques buffing brush, which is one of my holy grail brushes as well. I love Real Techniques brushes, so when other brushes that are more affordable remind me of Real Techniques, I get so excited and make a whole video about it. And just so you can see kind of the difference in size between the Kabuki and this brush number 4, this one's a little bit smaller, less densely packed. So it's really good for lighter makeup days, and for those of you with maybe smaller faces that want to be able to get into all the different areas of your face. A brush like this just screams cream products to me. Cream bronzers, cream blushes, foundations, things like that, because whenever I see a more densely packed bristle, that's what I want to use it for. But if you like a really intense blush look, if you want really precise placement on your contour, you could definitely use this brush for a contour right on the apples of your cheeks for blush. You are going to be applying more product with this than you would with like this one that I use for blush and bronzer. But again, if that's what you're going for, this would be a great brush for that. Very versatile brush. All right, next up is brush number 5, and this is like a small stippling brush. The way that I think about a stippling brush when you compare it to a brush like the last one we talked about, just a tiny bit smaller and the bristles are less densely packed. What that's gonna give you is more distribution of product. You're not gonna apply as much product to your face with a stippling brush that has these very dispersed bristles as you are with a brush like this that's got all those bristles packed together. They're really good for like a liquid highlight. You could also use this with powder highlight. That's what I did today. Another really good cream blush brush. I like how many different options you have for all the different makeup. There's not just one brush you could use for highlight, now one brush you could use for blush. You've got a lot of options. This is a really comprehensive brush set. So those are all of the face brushes, and I feel like we cover every category more than once with those face brushes. And then you've got the 4 different eye brushes. So you've got, these are 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm gonna show these all together so you can kind of see the difference between them. Number 7 is the largest crease brush. So this is a great crease brush for like those transition colors, or if you just want to throw some bronzer in your crease on an everyday basis. This is going to give you that nice wash of color, not a whole lot of control in terms of precision. So this is not a brush you're going to want to use for like a cut crease, obviously, but it's a solid classic crease brush. Brush number 8 is a more precise brush. So think of this more like a MAC 217 brush. After you go in with that wash of a crease color, you're going to go in with something a little bit darker, either on the outer corners and blend it in, or just really right there in the crease to define it. This brush number 8 is going to be your more precise crease brush. Brush number 9 is kind of a cross between those first two. It has the length of the first one, but the density of the second one. So you're going to get the precision of like a MAC 217 or that last brush we just talked about, but the blendability of the crease brush. So this is a really good one for cut creases. So you're going to be able to really get the product where you want it and then blend it out really easily. It's kind of the best of both worlds. And then last but not least is brush number 10, and this is a lid packing brush. This does an incredible job of picking up like those shimmery, glittery shades and making sure that all of the product you're picking up gets deposited on the lid. I feel like synthetic packing brushes can be really hit or miss, but this is an excellent one. You could also use this as a concealer brush if you don't really pack on lid shades very often to define your brow bone or just conceal different blemishes all over your face. So definitely a multitasking brush. The only brush that I would add to this collection if I could would be a pencil brush for like smudging out the lower lash line or depositing an inner corner highlight. But what I used for that was that brush number 8. This is the second eye brush I mentioned, and all I did was use my fingers to kind of flatten it out, and then I could use this up underneath my eyes. So in my opinion, that is the only thing missing from this collection. Other than that, like I said, I think it's really, really comprehensive. And I mean, how incredibly gorgeous are these brushes to look at. So if you are in search of just really solid brushes and you don't want to have to build up your own brush collection and find a foundation brush, a blush brush, bronzer brush, like every different type of brush feels overwhelming, and you just want a one-stop shop where you're going to have all your bases covered for whatever makeup look that you're doing, this brush collection is the best one that I've found for under $50. And this one is $42, but like I said, if you use that Ulta coupon and you get the $3.50 off, this comes out to less than $4 a brush. So you're paying about $3 a brush for really, really high quality brushes that look absolutely beautiful. So like I said, I was preparing for another video. This video was not planned, but when I started testing out these brushes, I was like, I can't wait for that video. I have to share these brushes with you guys because I was just that excited about them. So I really hope you guys found this video helpful. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. And don't forget to subscribe while you're here. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.